Hey everyone, I'm in Medieval Dynasty and I want to explain the management system inside the game because this confused the heck out of me. I'm playing on the Xbox and I'm going to show you how it works. So you hit the screens button and you come into the management section here. What I'm going to do is just hide my camera just so you can see a little bit better about what's going on here. So the management section you can access with your D-pad by moving that to the left. So hopefully you can hear that clicking. So the first one we've got on the left hand side are the people. So you can see that on the little bit of paper there, and you can see so far I have 7 workers here. So on the left hand side I can see a bit of information about their general skills, what they're currently employed at, what their age is, what their mood is like, and you can see they're all so-so at the minute. So my sort of village is developing, so I've not put in too much exciting stuff. I'm more working on getting in everything built up and then making everything look good. On the right hand side you can see your dynasty reputation, what taxes you're going to have to pay each year, what sort of stage you're at the minute. So you can see my development stage is farm, how many population, of course there's me included as well, so that's 8. I can do a total of 35 buildings at the minute, and the way you progress that is by going through the chapters of the game, so pay a good attention to those, and each chapter that you go through will increase your building amount that you can actually do there. Now the food demand on the right hand side, you can see it says 1464.9, and per day in brackets is how much I need per day. So you can see I've got plenty of food there, so quite a lot of days of food there available. Also the same with water as well. I've got loads of water, and my wood is so I could do with a bit more wood. So wood is my biggest headache. So if we think about the people on the left hand side here, so we can see this is how they're all set up at the minute. So you can see Bernadetta here is the lumberjack. So let's have a little look at her. So to access any of these, down the bottom you see it says open details, so we press A, and then this shows me the information about Bernadetta, and you can see she is female, age 20, mood 4, so she's so, profession is currently lumberjack. Now below is her skills, so what she's good at, and ideally you want to put these people to work in areas that are good for whatever they're good at. So you can see her extraction level is 2. So putting her in some sort of extraction task would probably work well. You can go on the other ones, and she will gradually, or she should gradually improve at that as she does more of it. Now below that you can manage the assistant. So if you see I've got the simple small house and the woodshed. So if she wasn't assigned to a house, I could go open details here with A, and then I could assign her to a house, but she's already assigned to a house here. So you can see she's assigned to a house already, a simple small house with 2 other people. There's 2 people in that house, and the way houses work is you can have a male and a female, and if they get together they may have a child as well. So what threw me when I started the game was, can you just chuck 3 workers in the same house? And no, not really. So it's male and female, and then they may have the child. Now the other thing you can do by going down is assign them to a workplace. So we're going to talk about workplaces in a minute here. So if I hit A here, I can see all of the different places that I could possibly assign Bernadetta here, and whether anyone's assigned there at the minute and what we could do with them. So for example, we could assign her to the sewing hut if we wanted, or the smithy, or the well, or whatever. So you see at the minute the smithy has 0 of 1 people in it, and it says a status next to it, which is just saying there's no one assigned here at the minute. So if I wanted to change her, I could do that here. So if I pressed A, you can see empty slot here, assign her here, and then she would be a smithy if we wanted her to. I'm not going to do that though, I'm just going to leave her where she is. So I hit B to go back to return here, but that's where you would assign people. Now what threw me completely is I didn't realize if we hit back again, so you're sort of on this route menu and then back again, so you come back to the map, so I'm hitting B to do that. You can then use the D-pad to come over to buildings, and this is where you can see what is going on with each of these buildings and whether there's a problem. So you can see who's assigned to buildings. So you can see I've got a couple of houses here with just one of three people, so I could assign more people to them. So I have more option to add more villagers, which I should do at some point. And if we come down to these, anywhere where I've got an exclamation mark, there's a potential problem. So we can see the well here. If we have a little look at this, it says no resources. Now, what's needed resource-wise for each building varies. So, for a well, you need water bottles. So, not water bottles, water buckets or water skins, and you need to put those with the well for them to be filled up. But because we've got so many buckets in play already, water's not a problem. So he's out of resources. So what we could do with Przej Bodge, or however you say his name is, we could reallocate him because he's kind of wasted at the well. He's done such a good job. The well is all good. We are full of water. So we're going to have a little look at that in a minute. So we'll hit back again and go down to hunting. And if we look at the hunting lodge here, you can see there's a problem that the hunters have no tool. So I'm going to fix that also in a minute here. So we can see we've got 2 hunters here and not enough tools. So we'll have a little look at that. Farming, we've got no one assigned to the barn. The kitchen is good, but we've got these other things here. And again, similar sort of problem, no one assigned. So I've got all these buildings and no one assigned to them. And if we go right down the bottom and have a little look at the storages, food storage 1, resource storage 1, this is just showing us the capabilities of it. So if I hit back, if I hit back there and then press to the right, this shows me my crops. So I've only got 1 field really in process at the minute, which was, and it gives you a little breakdown. It's a little hard to see this, but if you see it here, it shows you how. So when I press A on this field, I can see I've got carrots and cabbages here. I can see what's fertilized, what's ploughed, that sort of stuff. I have no animals at the minute, and this shows the demand control, the last one here. So food items, water items, and this sort of stuff. So that's how the management works. But let's think about some of those problems. So the first thing we had was Przej Bodge, or whatever his name was. Hang on, let's find him here. Przej Bodge. Water carrier, we could reassign him. So he's got a house, let's leave him there. So I've gone down here, pressed A, and moved down here to well. Press A again. I could think about where I want to assign him. So I could say, any of these things where we've got some space. So we could say, let's chuck him in the excavation slot at the minute. So let's press A there, and we'll make him a miner. Now, when you do that, if you go over to the sort of buildings place here, and we look at that excavation shed. If you look, again, another thing I missed is once you're looking on this page, you've got 4 tabs over here. So let's go over to the first tab, and this is very important. This shows how the sort of split of extraction is currently split. By default, when you're assigning a worker, these are set at 0. So if you want to increase them, you have to hold down A. So if you look down the bottom, it says A, increase worker intensity, X, decrease work intensity, and that should vary if you're looking on the PC, but this is specifically aimed at the Xbox thing here. So if I wanted to decrease one of these, I press the X button here, and I could say actually what I want you to do is prioritize on, say, stone. So I've obviously got a total work intensity at the top right of 100%, so that's pushing my workers hard. I could lower that if I want to give them a bit more of a break. So we can also see demands, and in theory what we have in production a day. So there's nothing requiring any of these things at the minute that I've put into production. So we're all good here. And then this is what we've got in storage. We've got a stone pickaxe and a wooden shovel to help them collect stuff. So let's back out of there and have a little look at these other ones. So the hunting lodge here, we can see we've got the 2 hunters assigned there. We've got no apprentice. This is what we've asked them to do. So you can see mostly focus on meat, a little bit on leather, but they're saying no tool. So this is what we've got to fix. And then here you can see the local production, what we've got going on, and there's no meat occurring in the mix. We've got no tool. So that's what we've got in the storage there. So you can see there's a wooden spear and a bow, but they don't use that. They need a stone knife. So that's what we're going to go and fix. So if you look up the top, the top left of my interface, there's a little warning there, and that's saying, hey, there's a problem somewhere, and that problem is no tool. So that's what we're going to fix. So you probably know how to craft a stone knife. Oh, that's a mushroom. That ain't going to do us much good. So I've just got to run around until I find a bit of stone for us. So there's a stone there. So 1 stone. Let's just find a couple more. 2 stone. And as we've got 2 hunters, we should probably make a couple of knives. So there's no problem making loads of knives. And I'm going to give you a quick tip in a minute as well, just talking about quick crafting, which saves you a lot of time if you're going to be making lots of crafting stuff. So I've got my sticks there, I've got some stones. hopefully not going to break my bones. So I can now make 3 knives. So if I hit the, not that one, the up, no, not that one either, it's too many buttons. The right button on the Xbox, I can go down to handcrafting with my left stick, and then here, stone knife, because I want to do 3, I can hit Y to craft more, and then it automatically goes up to 3, which is how many I can make, and I press A to accept. Now check this, if you've not got quick crafting on, you have to wait 3 times for the 7 seconds that it takes to craft this. Now I'm just going to show you where you can turn that on. Look at that, I got 3 stone knives and I only had to wait once. So what did I do? I hit the menu button here, and if we go into, I think it's customize game, there you go, fast crafting. So you want to select that on, and then when you've done that, hit Y to accept changes. Don't hit X, otherwise that restores default settings. So we're back out, so that's how I got that on. So once I've done that, I go into, well, that's not the hunting lodge, that's the house. So we go into the hunting lodge, and if I chuck this in the chest now, so I'll use left trigger to come over to my inventory on the left hand side, and then if I go and find those stone, what were they, stone knives, there they are. So I've got 8 stone knives at the minute. It's quite funny, I forgot I had a load. But anyway, let's say we're going to give them 3. So what we should see now is that number 4 should drop down. There you go. So number 1, I've only got 1 problem issue at the minute. So let's have a little look at that problem issue, because I've forgotten what it was. Let's see what we got in extraction. Was it the well? I think it's well, it's warning that we've got no worker there, which is fine. Let's have a look under farming. That's not a problem. I don't think there's anything else that's critical to us. So everything else that's moaning about, the main thing is saying, look, we've got no worker on the well, and that's fine. I don't really care about that because we've got so much water anyway. So the last thing I just want to cover about management is sort of the buildings and how the buildings work, because this threw me as well. So things like the hunting lodge, you can use that to get meat as long as you've assigned a worker and then you tell them what to do. So we saw that on the previous screen, that's fine. But what you want to have is a couple of buildings that are quite important to store stuff. So you obviously need houses to house your villagers, so we covered that. If you want to get water, you're going to need a well, and you chuck your buckets inside the barrel, and then they will be used to fill up, or your water skins. So you need to make those, and then you can chuck those, assign a worker, and they would do that. This one here, this is the, what's this called? The woodshed. And they can get logs and various things, but they're going to need a tool as well. So if we just have a little look at this one in management, so the woodshed, there's the woodshed, and if we look at what we're asking them to do, it says this one in particular, the planks, it needs an axe. So we need to double check that there is an axe there. Cool, that's all good. So in theory, they can do all of these bits. Now we can see that one thing that they're paused on, bizarrely, is making no firewood, because we had quite a bit of firewood, but I need to fix that. So what I'm going to do is just fix that here. So I'm just going to decrease a little bit on logs, and I'm going to increase firewood. So then that should start generating a bit of firewood over time as well. And what you see on the right hand side is how much they should make of each per day, in theory, as long as everything is good. So that one's quite good. Now another thing that's important is this one here, which is a resource storage area, and as the workers make stuff, it should appear in here. So if we have a little look in here, we should see things that are being made by other ones, like we've got bowls being made here, there's logs, there's planks. So these planks were made by our worker over there, and then they sit in here, and then in theory, if you've got something that makes those planks and you've told them to make stuff, so if we said to this chap here, he's what is he assigned to? The workshop. We could have a little look at his current setup. So we'll look at the workshop. So down we go. So there's the workshop, and have a little look what he's currently making. So we've got him to be making buckets at the minute as well. So he's going to be making 1.55 buckets per day, bizarrely. But that's something he should be churning out. So you can see he's slightly progressed on there. So that's the stuff that he's producing. So that the reason why I was looking at that is buckets require planks. So if anyone got planks, he can't make buckets. The other critical one is this one, which is food storage 1. And as your hunters gather food or your farmers gather food, this will all be stored in here. So you can see I've got lots of, oh, and also your water as well. So it's quite a critical one to actually get. So you can see I've got loads of food going on in here, plenty of water as well. All is good. The other things that you've got, you can have things like a blacksmith. So I've created the smithy here, but you're free to actually use these yourself if you want, if you don't want to assign a worker here. So once you've built these things, you can produce things like wooden weapons, wooden tools, stone weapons. If you get a bit more advanced, you can use the forge. Once you get more advanced materials, then you can also store stuff in the smithy, because we've got that already. Another critical one is this one, which is the kitchen. So as the meat is done by the hunter, you can tell the worker here to be cooking certain stuff for us. So again, if we have a little look at that management and we have a little look at the kitchen, we can see what we've set this chap up to be making. So at the minute, we've said make roasted meat and mushroom soup 50-50. Now I did just do something, so he's got the ability to do some other stuff here, because I finally farmed some cabbages and stuff, so I could decrease some of this and say, look man, we're a bit sick of roasted meat. We want some nicer stuff, and then we'll invest a bit in potage. And that's going to create some, nicer stuff. And as you're going down through these, if they are ones that are available, you can see it says salted meat is in red, so he can't make that in a minute. So he can't make either of these, so we'd have to make that. We got no fish either, so we can't make those. But this one is good, and this one is good. So yeah, kitchen is pretty critical. You've then got the barn, and this works in conjunction with your farm. So you can assign barn workers here, and they can make things like flour, and you can use the threshing floor here to make seed and stuff like that. And again, you're free to use all of these things. So you can see I've got wheat grain here. I can craft some flour, or I could have a barn worker assigned here to do that for me. So that's quite a cool one. This one is an excavation shed. So this is one where we can assign workers to go and get us stuff like straw, or so again, if we look in our management inventory here, management inventory, well, you know what I mean, the management one, and we go to the excavation shed, and if we have a little look here, you can see I'm telling them to get a mix of stone, clay, limestone and straw. These are quite useful. That down in the help, it tells you what these things are for as well, so it's quite a useful thing, so we can see how our production is and whether we've got any demands from any of the other areas, but we haven't got that at all. And then the last one I've got here is my what the heck is this called? Yeah, the sewing hut. So here I can take advantage of some of that stuff I'm making. So the flax, for example, if I start using that, I can then turn that into linen thread, and all these things. One thing to point out about some of these things is you can't use everything initially. You may need to increase your technology, so you may need to do more stuff in this area. So you can see I need more technology to increase, so I need to get production up to 750 before I could do wool thread, but I can use this one straight away. And if we look at the tailoring table here, to make a simple linen shirt, I may need to buy this scheme, so I would have to buy this for 200. You can see currently the amount in brackets is how much I've got, which is 3.1 coin, not enough at all, but I need to do that to improve things. So the way you get more buildings, or access to more buildings, sort of goes in line with your technology. So when we hit the screens button here, this shows when things would be unlocked, and also the schemes that I could buy for this. So we can move between these with left and right. So the well, you can see there's nothing you can get additional for the well, but the resource storage, there's these other things that we can unlock: the sitting stump, the stick fence, plank gate, etc. All these things unlock as we increase our technology in this area. So you can see the way you improve this technology is by extracting activities, building structures for building. This one, hunting animals, setting traps and fishing. This one is done by farming and breeding animals. And the last one here, production, crafting items and cooking. So the more that you do of each of those things will help improve the buildings that you can have, which you then manage in this area. I think that's pretty much everything that I wanted to cover in here. I know that was quite detailed, but hopefully that helps you get started with it. And if you've got any questions on it, do let me know. because I know the game's been out for quite a while, but it's only been recent on the Xbox, so I thought I'd do some stuff specific to the Xbox. So if I've missed anything, let me know. If there's anything that's unclear, again, let me know. Thanks so much for watching.